Hi, welcome to Nadia's studio. I showed a sort of short of me doing a Ghibli portrait of myself and asked if people were interested in me providing a tutorial, kind of in response to the whole AI Ghibli art trend that had been going around. It was encouraging to see people, either artists or non-artists, trying to do their own hand-drawn Ghibli um, fan art, if you will, or self portraits. And so I am coming to deliver. I am going to give an example of male and female, though there are just slight changes to that. And I'm also going to show you this is more my style when I try to go anime. Um, it's kind of, I like to blend a little bit semi-realism with it. But today we are going to do Ghibli. Now, to be fair, I have honestly never drawn Ghibli except for that one time on my reel, but I have watched Ghibli a long time and I've analyzed the common features within it. So this should give you at least kind of a basis that you can go off on to draw your own Ghibli portrait. So, as we often do with any um, person's portrait or head, you're going to start with a circle. And I'm going to do two. We will do a girl on this side and a boy on this side. Okay, you have two, and you want to keep these kind of light because we will be erasing them. I'm going to try to keep mine somewhat dark so to make sure you can see them. I'm going to bring you in a little more. There we go. So what we're going to do a kind of 3/4 view, so they're looking a little off to the side. And so to give us a guideline, you want to see where a line would go through the middle, move over a bit. You're going to bring it down that line and kind of curve like you're doing with the circle, just slightly, and then continue it down about, let's say you want to do like half of the circle length down. Now, if you are younger, say 22 and younger or 20 and younger, you can have quite a short face in Ghibli standards. If you're above that, they tend to show just a bit more elongation, if you will. And so I'm just going to go over and do the same with the boys. And the boys, I will kind of keep it a little straighter and less curved, like so. So going over to our girl's portrait, we are going to just carve out the side of the face. So we're going to darken a line and just basically follow the curve of the circle. And as we go down, we're going to smooth it out, and then we're going to get like a nice chubby cheek here. You can, again, if you're younger, you want to go more chubby. I'm going to make her a little older, like myself. I am, what, 27 now? And then kind of bring it down to, and I'm going a little past where I had that line since I want to make my face a little longer. Then give a chin, which is about just a little curved segment here. You can, if, and for the boys, we'll do a little straighter line. Then we want to connect it to the back of the head. I'm going to round it out. So you kind of want to follow where the, almost the edge of the circle is. I'm going to extend it a little more and just give a curve to connect it. The girls will usually have a very soft curve, not much definition here, and then just go in and give her an ear, like so. Just do kind of a curve where it curves closer in at the bottom, and then this is my shorthand for an ear. I give a little line up, and then a line C, making in the inner curve, and you can add a little shading in there if you want. Now let's go over to the men here. And they often will be similar, and again, it will depend a little bit by age. But basically, you're going to follow the same lines, but try to make it just a bit less soft. And when we come into the cheek, we're going to kind of give them less and give it almost, it's still curved, but you want to give an impression that there is a little more definition, if you can see between the two. And then they often have similar chins. And so I'm just going to give it flat-ish chin, but round out the corners. if you will. And let's see, for this guy, I kind of want him, let's say he's about my age. So again, I did go a little longer. You could, if you were doing shorter, you'd go about here. And then and for the connecting, they basically will follow the same principle, except sometimes if you want, you can give them a little bit of that chisel jaw, just a little one, and the rest will be rounded just a bit. So I'm going to give him an ear as well. I'm going to give him a little bigger ear. All right, and now to get into some fun facial features. To locate where you want the eyes, they'll usually be not quite at the bottom of the ear, but a little above. That's going to be the bottom of the eye. So I'm going to do a light line to place here. And then along the top of the ear is usually a good roll. They kind of follow similar accurate proportions than many anime do, which I do like that about them. So that is how I'm going to kind of place the placement of the eyes. Now going in for the girls, since we're doing 3/4 view, this eye is going to be larger and more directly at us, where we're going to squish this one more. I want you to see a little better. So as we go in here, we're just going to kind of give a rounded C shape. Now this can vary a bit with the type of character. Sometimes they'll have a little more round, sometimes they'll have a little extra shape to them. And for girls, they'll usually get like an eyelash or two. So you can give them a little eyelash. I'm giving an extra one in the corner here, just a bit, but they don't tend to go heavy on the eyelashes. Now here, we're also going to do a curve, but you're going to elongate it towards the nose here and shorten it the further you get near here, because it's curving away from us, if that makes sense. And I'm going to give her 2 little eyelashes. Now, Ghibli has nice, simple eye shapes. They're often even like blackish in color, opposed to regular anime eyes. So they're usually pretty oval, and you're going to kind of want them to be touching the top of the eyelash, and round down. In this case, I'm not going to make it go all the way down to here. In this case, I'm just trying to feel out how I like it. If I had lowered this a bit, I think I would have liked that. But in this case, I think that looks right. And here we're going to make the same thing, but it's going to be almost half the size of that one. You're going to really squish that oval, as you see there. And then just give little lines at the top for the actual eyelids. And sometimes they'll have little lower eyelashes. That's kind of up to you if you like that. And then let's give them a little oval within the eye. And then you can just block out the rest of the color. Like so. And I'm going to even try to carve it a little thinner to make it look a little more Ghibli. Honestly, the more I overdo this, the more I overthink. Some of them do have much rounder eyes. You can, of course, reference characters. Like Haku has quite distinct eyes that are a little more squinted, things like that. And so that indeed makes it a little more difficult to choose which eyes to do for the male. So let's see. I'm actually going to, lower his eyes here. I'm going to give him shorter eyes. So placing similarly where she has her eyes, we're going to make a, how would you say? It's like a flatter, maybe a little longer curve of an eye. Going over here, I am going to round it toward here and then flatten it. Like so. And we're going to go kind of plump it out and make basically this version squatter. But we still want it to have some length. So I'm kind of just gauging how much I want that to be. So I think I like that. And we're going to go over here and do the same, but squishing it into a smaller one. And you want them to be kind of touching the eyelids. These you can do even more if you want them to look a little serious or unbothered. The more they barely touch, the more either surprised or happy they look. So you'll often see, like, if you see like a girl's eyes doing, say, this, she looks like she is surprised, right? And then if you have, we'll also do a girl's just to kind of compare. If she's like half lidded, like you're really squishing in the eye that's kind of within there, she looks serious, unbothered, bored, or something like that. And you can kind of show the bottom lid here, like so. So that's an example of that. Let's give him also a little mark above his eyes there. I'm going to, let's see if I can find it. Found it. I'm going to erase the lines around the eyes gently. The light pencil marks we did to mark out our placement. I can also get rid of this line to an extent. You can either fully get rid of it if you want less guidance. I'm going to leave it for now. Same for her. And if I erase any of the actual eyes, I can just go over and touch it up with my pencil. I often don't mind there being some sketchy marks left. I like that look, so I'm not going to bother with that too much. And just going in with him, let's give him a little oval or circle. You can do a little more circular highlight and then fill in the eye. Same for this one. There you go. Now we're gonna do a quick nose, if you will. And what you'll see often would, let's see, I'll make him a little younger and her a little older. I actually will lose these marks just to feel where I want to place him. So him, or, you know, let's make him a little older. And the boys also tend to have a ridge, so that might help. The boys will sometimes have a nose bridge that kind of connects to the nose. You can make it a little sharper, a little rounder, and a little nostril. That's kind of all you do for them. You can sometimes give a little indentation to the eyebrows, but Ghibli really likes simplicity. And so for the girl, I'm going to kind of follow where I would have a nose ridge, and then do a little connecting point just for the tip of her nose, and then her nose line. And actually, I'm going to lower it, considering I did make her face longer than shorter. So let's place it about here. You can see a remnant of the previous nose. There we go. So as you can kind of see there. And the mouths are going to be quite simple. Let's just give them a little smile. You can, of course, play. And then a little line to indicate the bottom lip. And let's see, we'll make him maybe a little different. Maybe a little neutral, but maybe like a little upset or thinking about something kind of expression. Now for the eyebrows, you'll see the girls can often have very, very simple eyebrows, almost just lines. So you might even use that for a guide. So I'll give her neutral, kind of happy eyebrows. And you notice I just kind of gave them a little extra depth by running the pencil back and forth. So that's kind of good enough for one of the girls, unless you want to stylize them a bit more. They can be a little shorter if you kind of want those short, either young or Chinese, or some Japanese have them as well, the very short eyebrows. With the guys, they'll tend to thicken them up a bit. Not necessarily too much. Some of the guys have thin eyebrows as well, so it's a bit of a style choice, but just a general rule is to thicken the guy's eyebrows. So again, I'm just going to go neutral eyebrows. So there we are with that. And just to go in for a neck before we get to the fun hair part, very simple necks. You'll kind of see it at the chin, and the girls have thin, not too shaped. For older women, they might be longer, and for the younger girls, they'll be a little shorter. So I'm just going to kind of indicate a shirt kind of collar here, if you will. Just very rough. Now, for the guys, they'll a little thicker, probably thicker the older you get. But for anyone, and I'm going to get rid of these eyes. That's actually probably a bit too much neck. We'll tidy that up. And then I'm going to give him just indication of shoulder so it's not just a floating head. So there you go. And then you can just give a little neck shadow cast there. Yeah, the more I look at it, I want to thin his neck out a bit. All right, so now you can kind of play with the hairstyle you want. You can look at a hairstyle, like pick your own or pick from a reference photo. And a general guide rule is you're going to analyze a hairstyle. And let's see, I'm going to show down here. So say here's your figure's head, and they're kind of a 3/4 view. Oh, my hand is at an awkward angle, so sorry for how ugly that looks. Right? So that's kind of our mock head. And say we just want to give her a cute bob with bangs. So just kind of outline the bang section like so. And then you want to make it into these clumps that are usually of some kind of spikes. But in saying that, you don't want them like to come to a strong point. You want to soften the spike, and you can break it up. They just really like to indicate here by clumps of points. So to go, that is looking a little too anime for me as an example. I wish I was kind of looking at a reference. I'll pull up. So often the girls have, if they have bangs, they're very in pieces, if you will. So, and you'll kind of want to give them a little kind of misdirection at times, like we'll do so. But they're very simple. Keep it simple. So say that was the bangs, will indicate kind of top of the head. You want the hair to expand out from the head a bit. And so very simple lines along the sides. And then as it comes to her little bob, you're going to break it up into clumps that come into points, something like so, right? So to do a little tidier job here, I'm just going to play with it how I feel. Let's see her. I'm going to give her a part down by her ear, kind of indicate like that, and that's kind of a section of her hair, and the other hair will go here. Going to round out kind of how big the hair has to be. And let's see, I might she's reminding me of Yuko, Shizuki's friend from Whisper of the Heart. Although she does have some extra hair. I'm going to give her a little middle hair. I think that's cute. And so let's give her braids like hers. So I'm going to kind of bring in here where her hair would be gathered. And I'm going to try to see if I can make it come to the front. So to do this, I'm just going to indicate where the hair would go. Round out this shape that is getting pulled back so we don't really see the ends. And then let's see, they do simple braid shapes like so. Like so. I'm going to give her kind of a, and also, oh, what's her name from Laputa? What's her name? I forget. I'm going blank right now because I'm quite focused. And so from here, the end of the hair you want in clumps that come in 2 points. Not too happy with that, but I'm going to leave it be. You can, of course, play with it. Honestly, I find the hair a little tricky at times because this is not my natural way to do hair. And I want this actually to be shorter than the front because since she's turned away from us, it should, you should have some foreshortening going on. So say that's kind of the big shape. And see, that's a little better. You kind of go over the big shape and see where you could break it into pieces. So that's good. And let's just give her some shading. She is a Japanese girl after all, probably a student by the looks of it. And that would be our kind of mock girl like Yuko. Now for the boys, my brothers often tease. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. Often tease how all the guys look the same. They all have the same haircut, and often a lot of them do. They'll have slightly shorter, slightly longer. Like Haku is a bit of a special case because he, unlike everyone else, he doesn't have those clumps. He has very straight hair. So just based on, say, like I'm going to draw my brother. And my brother has like short hair in the front. And you've seen some of the characters who have a shaved head, so I'm kind of going a little based on that. So this should actually be rounder for Ghibli. Let's see. And then he has like curly hair at the top. So I'm just going to give it a wave, but still going into kind of the points. And so based on kind of if it's your brother, if it's your boyfriend, just kind of take their hair shape, just the shape of it, and you're going to break it into the clumps. And the Ghibli goes just really simple with the guys, very little imagination. And when they do something interesting, like Ponyo's dad, they kind of go all out. But this is kind of the basis. Now, this is really for kind of anyone who you wouldn't consider old. As soon as we get into, an old Ghibli character, the proportions and facial features really change. They really exaggerate the jawline, the nose, the eyes. I can go over that if you'd like, if you're interested. Maybe draw your grandmother or grandfather in Ghibli style. That'd be really cute. But overall, this is a good guideline for, I don't know, anyone in 30s and younger, maybe even 40s. Kind of depending on, because Ghibli characters are often young, so I don't know quite where their mid-range people go. They seem to age quite quickly in features once they get to a certain point. But yeah, that is my quick, semi-quick go over for how to draw yourself or do a Ghibli portrait. I'm even going to elongate this guy's eyes a little bit because I keep seeing hers and liking hers more. Just a bit. And of course, you can play around, do yours how you like. Yeah, I like that better. I'm going to just darken it. And of course, you can bring out your colored pencils or your watercolor, anything like that to color in your characters and see what you can do from there. But if this was at all helpful for you, I would really like to know because I feel like I just sat down quickly, did this. Very little research, very little practice. This is just if I were to do a Ghibli character, it has such a simple style to it, but little shifts can really change it, how it turns out. Like it's very easy to get like a very chunky chin here if you don't curve it at the right time. Like hers, I feel it's looking a little odd. I'm not sure if it's just the angle of that. And I might even give her like a smaller chin to find that out there. Sorry about all the background noise. There's my mom and grandfather talking. There are the dogs. So again, this was a very quick video put together, but I would love to hear your feedback if you have your own thoughts. If you think it doesn't look Ghibli at all, of course, I'm open to that feedback as well. And anything else you would like to see from me. I am looking to maybe doing some more tutorials in drawing, so I would love to know what you'd like to see from me. I primarily work in children's book illustration, but I also have a little more semi-realistic style that I has been my main style for many years, so I like to do things like that. But yeah, let me know. Thank you for watching. This is getting into a rant. I will let you go.